This lesson is on finding multiples. First, we're going to define what a multiple is. A multiple is a number that can be divided by another number evenly without having any left over. The first method that we're going to talk about is repeated addition. In repeated addition, what we're going to do is we are going to add the same number each time. So in this first example, we're going to be talking about all of the multiples of 2. Now what I will do is I will add 2 each time. So to get from 2 to 4, I add 2. So 4 is a multiple of 2. And it's actually the second multiple of 2 because 2 times 1 will give me 2. So this is the first multiple. 4 would be the second. 6 would be the third. 8 would be the fourth. And each time I just add 2 to get to the next one. What do you think the next multiple of 2 would be? To find the next multiple of 2, I would simply take 16 and add 2. So the next multiple of 2, or the ninth multiple of 2, would be 18. In this next example, we're talking about multiples of 6. So I'm going to add 6 each time using my repeated addition. And that will help me find all of the multiples of 6. What do you think the next multiple of 6 would be? The next multiple of 6 would be 54. Now going back to our definition of multiples, each of these multiples must be able to be divided by the number. So if I take 12, I know that 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So that 12 can be divided evenly by 2 without a remainder. So I know that 12 is a multiple of 2. If I look at the number 36, it can be divided evenly by 6, so I know that 36 is a multiple of 6. The next method we're going to talk about is multiplication. In using multiplication to find multiples, we start with the number that we're finding multiples for, and we start multiplying by each number, by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, etc. So when I do 2 times 1, I get 2. So this is the first multiple. So 2 is the first multiple of 2. When I multiply 2 by 2, I get 4. So 4 is the second multiple. When I multiply 2 by 3, I get 6. So 6 is the third multiple. When I multiply 2 by 4, I get 8. So 8 is the fourth multiple. Now if I wanted to find the fifth multiple, I would do 2 times 5, and I would get 10. So 10 is the fifth multiple of 2. Now let's look at the next example. We're finding multiples of 6. So 6 times 1 gives me 6, which is the first multiple. 6 times 2 gives me 12. So 12 is the second multiple of 6. 6 times 3 gives me 18. So 18 is the third multiple of 6. 6 times 4 gives me 24. So that means that 24 is the fourth multiple of 6. If I do 6 times 5, that gives me 30. So 30 is the fifth multiple of 6. What do you think the eighth multiple of 6 is? To find this, I would have to do the sixth multiple and the seventh multiple as well. So 6 times 6 is 36. That would be the sixth multiple. 6 times 7 is 42. That would be the seventh multiple. And 6 times 8 is 48. So that would be the eighth multiple. So 48 is the eighth multiple of 6. And if you look at this closely, you'll see that this is related to our repeated addition method, because to get from one multiple to the next, I'm just adding 6. So multiplication is really just repeated addition. Now we're going to look at some practice, and we're going to find multiples. So in the first example, it says to find the first 7 multiples of each number. So for 2, I know that it's going to be plus 2. So 6 plus 2 will give me 8. 8 plus 2 will give me 10. 10 plus 2 will give me 12. 12 plus 2 will give me 14. When I find the multiples of 8, I'll start with 8, and then I'll add 8, or I'll multiply by 2 to find the second multiple. If I multiply by 3 to get the third multiple, or add 8 to 16, that's 24, then 32, then 40, then 48, and then 56. So this is also just kind of like skip counting. So to find the multiples of 5, I'll start with 5. Add 5 gives me 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Now I want you to try finding the multiples of 7 on your own. So our multiples of 7, we'll start with 7. That's 7 times 1. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 6 is 42. And 7 times 7 is 49. Now I want you to do the same thing for the tens. So to find the multiples of 10, I'll start with 10, and I can easily just add 10 each time. To find the first 7 multiples of 10. The next practice section wants us to find the missing multiple and find which number they are multiples of. So if I'm looking at this first row, I have 15, 20, 25, and then a missing multiple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip count and see what do I have to add to 15 to get 20. Well, I know I have to add 5. Well, let's see if that rule works for the next one. How do I get from 20 to 25? I would add 5 again. So these are going to be multiples of 5. And I know that 25 plus 5 is 30. And I can check my work because I know that 30 plus 5 is 35. Let's look at the next one. To get from 24 to 32, I have to add 8. And I can do that by subtracting 32 minus 24, and it will give me 8. And I know that to get from 32 to 40, I also add 8. So I know that these are multiples of 8. Now to find the missing multiple, I need to add 56 plus 8. And that will be 64. In the next one, I know that to get from 60 to 70, I have to add 10, and 70 to 80, I have to add 10. So to find the missing multiple, I'm going to add 10 to 40, and that gives me 50. I'm going to check my work because I know that 50 plus 10 gives me 60, so this fits just fine. And I'll know that these are multiples of 10 because I'm adding 10 each time. In the next one, I want you to try that on your own. Find the missing multiple and find what they are multiples of. Well, I know to get from 36 to 42, I would have to add 6. To get from 42 to 48, I also have to add 6. So these are multiples of 6. And to find my missing multiple, 66 plus 6 is going to give me 72. So my missing multiple will be 72. I also want you to try that last one on your own. I know that to get from 60 to 62, I have to add 2. From 66 to 68, I also add 2. From 68 to 70, I also add 2. So these are multiples of 2. To find the missing multiple, I'm going to add 2 to 62, which is 64. So my missing multiple is 64. These practice questions look a little different. It's asking me to find the third multiple of 4. So I can either start with 4 and skip count 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and look for the third number on my list. Or I can do multiplication. I know that 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. So I know that 12 is the third multiple of 4. Now I want you to try finding the fifth multiple of 7 on your own. So let's go over the fifth multiple of 7, and we'll start by skip counting. We have 7 plus 7 would be 14. Plus 7 would give me 21. And I'll illustrate that for you. That's plus 7. Plus 7 again would be 28. Plus 7 again would be 35. Plus 7 again would be 42. It asked for the fifth multiple. So I'm going to count to the fifth number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 35 is the fifth multiple of 7. I also could have done 7 times 1, 7 times 2, 7 times 3, 7 times 4, 7 times 5. To find that 35 is the fifth multiple of 7. Now we're going to look at some multiple choice questions. The first one says, which number is a multiple of 3? Well, remember in our definition, we said that multiples are a number that can be divided evenly, right? So I need to find out if any of these numbers can be divided evenly by 3. Or I could simply skip count and find the multiples of 3. So first, let's skip count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and that covers all of the numbers in our list. The only number that's on here that's also in our multiple choice answers is 21. So I know that 21 is a multiple of 3. 7, 13, and 26 are not on our list, so they are not going to be multiples of 3. I can also use division. I know that 21 can be divided by 3 evenly. If I divided 7 by 3, I would have 1 left over. If I divided 13 by 3, I would also have 1 left over. If I divided 26 by 3, I would have 2 left over. So those won't work. The next multiple choice question says which number is not a multiple of 6? And I want you to try answering this one on your own. To find which one of these numbers is not a multiple of 6, we're going to skip count with 6. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. And I know that 18 is on the list, so that's a multiple. 42 is on the list, so that's a multiple. And 30 is on the list, so that's a multiple. But 16 is not on the list. So 16 is not a multiple of 6.